What is up, everybody? Welcome to GrownAGeeks. My name is Jeffrey. I'm usually not in this slot, so I feel very weird talking first. But because this is a show that I requested to do, I also bribed Sam to do this by offering to host. So here I am, Jeffrey. This has been awkward enough. Let me introduce the rest of my panel for the evening. In the slot I'm usually in, our fearless leader, Elder Geek Sam. Sam, say what's up to the people.
How's everybody doing tonight? Talk some Disney.
All right. And then directly below me, we got RG Cashmere Johnson. Oh, three names like a serial killer.
And they're all first names. Beautiful day in the neighborhood. Ready to spread the love. Spread the love.
And last but certainly not least, our homegirl. We're still on the lookout for those cool nicknames. So if you got any ideas, go ahead and leave some in the comments. Maybe we'll have an episode reveal of Brandy's cool nickname. But Brandy, say what's up to the people.
It'll be a raffle.
Sorry, you always got to monetize, baby. Speaking of monetization, go ahead and hit that like button, ring that notification bell so you can get all this piping hot content. Now that all of the weird stuff is out of the way that you have to do, because this is what you have to do when you make content, let's get into what we really came here to talk about. That is the D23 Slate reveal. D23 is a fan convention. It's one of the biggest fan conventions in the world, and it's kind of interesting that Disney actually partners with them, and they get to see a lot of stuff. And they're starting to shift and do a lot of their reveals here versus at other conventions like Comic-Con. So D23 has definitely grown in prominence, and this year they put out an immense slate across all of their properties, and there was so much to talk about. I know, exactly. Even the dogs are excited. There's so much for us to talk about. So I said we definitely need to get the crew together. Yep. Woof, woof. This is for all our dog listeners out there. Definitely want to get the crew together, though, and talk about some of the things that we were seeing. So how's everybody doing? How just overall feelings about some of the stuff you saw revealed? Are we feeling positive? Are we feeling overwhelmed? I know RG hates Disney, so you can either go first or last.
RG may not be alone this time. I have to say, I've got two sides when it comes to the D23 slate. There's a part of me as the consumer side of me, as a fan. There's a part of me that's a little underwhelmed by the upcoming slate. As I feel everything is existing IPs, sequels, and some variation of what we already have.
I'm sorry. Are you just getting attacked by
I feel like the cat is the pets are going wild. That's a Disney thing, man. They announced
right?
That's why you wanted to get on camera. You heard that dog barking.
Right. He's like, we got beef? What's up?
Hold on.
I thought you said pets couldn't be on the show. What's up?
Right. The dog got to be on the show. Exactly. See, that's
Jesus Christ.
But that's how these things go. And it's one of those things, like everything that Disney has announced right now. It kind of feels like it's just a continuation of stories we already know. It's a lot of sequels, a lot, not so much reboots and remakes and whatnot, but it's just, there's that part that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They're not really venturing out with a lot of new stuff. There's different versions of the same stuff, so I'll kind of give them a pass on that. And, the other side does recognize the business part of it. They're taking good IP, taking things that people do like, and they're continuing some of those stories. So I can't be upset about that. But it is very much a safe slate moving forward. Disney's a business. They got to make money. They got to continue being able to afford all of this stuff. And this D23 slate is an example of how they plan to continue affording for the next couple of years.
Go ahead, Brandy, because I think I might be a little harsher. But let's keep it
I'm excited about two things that I saw. The rest, I'm going to just take it, I guess, as it comes, but I'm not looking forward too much. It's not that I'm not looking forward to it. I will get into things more in detail as we break the topics down, but I am truly excited about two things. The rest, I'm a bit confused.
I'm gonna write on a paper right now the two things I think it is, and we'll see if I'm right.
All right. So it's kind of a balance for me, right? The things that I really like and that I did see that I'm not going to say excited about, but I at least was looking forward to. I was really looking forward to. The animated portion of things, I think they did a great job with, and the trailers look awesome on the animated side. All that Marvel stuff, I'm not excited for. The Star Wars stuff is just maybe except for one of them. Sorry, before I get into it. So I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's like when it's bad, when they're bad for me. And but when they're good, they can deliver. What I'm looking forward to, I feel like they may be able to deliver on. Like I said, the trailers look promising. Yeah, it's it's 50-50 for me, but good luck, Disney, and Kathleen Kennedy. Happy retirement. Hope you get your win and we can get you up out of there. Let's just start it off with a little controversy immediately.
All right. Yeah, I think for me, it feels like the Marvel criticism has permeated all the studios, and everybody is like, whatever the people liked before, give them another one.
Yep.
Robert Downey Jr. dead. Hey man, you seen all these variants? Bring them back. Frozen. Yeah, it can snow again. Like it's just everything is like this is at one point what was one of the biggest things on the planet, and we're just bringing these things back to kind of remind you of that. I think there are some things sprinkled in there that have a bit of daring and a bit of risk to them, but like risks that could have a positive payoff. But even still, those things potentially could be heavily tethered to the thing that they're trying to remind us that they are, which is the biggest entertainment company on the planet. So
Right.
they've gone through stretches where it's like the magic versus the machine. There are periods where the magic is strong enough to power the machine, and then there's periods where the machine is just running off fumes
Residual magic.
the fumes, and it's just like we hoping to just get through the line till that next shipment of magic get here. Or are you in some weird phase where it's like the new owner bought the factory and he doesn't believe that we need magic to power the machines? We can just get some people that don't know what they're doing. It's like, because sometimes that's what it feels like, and then sometimes it feels like the marketing, and sometimes it just feels like we live in a world where like you can't make shit that everybody likes anymore because
that's
it's
100%.
just impossible. So then where does that leave a company like Disney? When everybody gets to the place where like everybody has to draw lines, like the fence, like that fence start riding up.
Yeah.
The longer you sit on it, and you trying to remind everybody what you did back when they got along. And we off that.
Remember this?
Yeah.
Right. And it is a lot of the member berries, and that's kind of what I was saying, that it's a lot of continuations. It's given us a lot of familiar settings in the hopes that when Disney decides to do, like, they had this whole slew of live action. That was their ticket at the time. It was like, hey, this was a great movie. Everybody loved it. Let's do it live action. They're
still doing it. We'll talk about one of them.
And it feels very gimmicky to a degree. And there's two coming up that are interesting conceptually. One, I'll admit I'm interested to see how that's going to go live action. Has me interested. I'm curious. The other, I don't even feel like that's a story we need. When I say just let them lions chill. I didn't
need the backstory. I didn't need the backstory.
How was this and so that's where that feeling comes from. But since it is based on an original IP, this is a company that, Disney will take their product, stick it in the vault, and won't make it available to you for some period of time so that they can re-release that same product, one, to maintain the rights and ownerships of it, and two, to introduce it to a whole new generation of kids. Now, that is one part of this that I do want to give Disney a little credit for. And, you know, when The Little Mermaid came out years ago as an animated movie, it was fantastic. Everybody was talking like Sebastian the Crab. It was a great movie. I don't think anybody has any problem with The Little Mermaid as an animated movie. Fast forward a little bit, there's a sequel. I don't think anybody, it was like something to do with Ariel's daughter.
Return to the Sea.
You know,
she was born on dry land and she wanted to be a mermaid.
She wanted to be a mermaid. Yeah.
There you go. You fast forward some, and then it was like there was no Little Mermaid for a while. Then they're re-releasing.
There was also a Disney like
the TV
like
show,
cartoon TV show.
Yeah,
that was like Adventures of Ariel type shit that they did.
Oh, like okay. I was about to say, wasn't it something with Sebastian? But
and that's the kind of like, it's almost like it's there, it's established, and they've done that because like when Timon and Pumbaa had their own little spinoff show,
Aladdin had one.
Yeah,
you know, like so they do that to kind of keep people familiar. Altogether?
Aladdin had 3 movies and an animated series,
and then Lion King 2, 2.5.
Yeah, and so it was animated ones. Lion King, then like the Simba Pride and whatnot, and then of course they're doing the live action. With Aladdin, they came back, they did a live action. So making the transition, like they will continue to release the good stories to future generations. And, Absolutely. You know, new people will get introduced to these stories that are good stories. And so kids who have never seen the original Aladdin cartoon may not be able to relate to that visual, you know, because times change and the animation changes and the cartoons they watch today look different than the cartoons we watched years ago. You look at the new Looney Tunes characters and Bugs Bunny just looks so weird compared to what I'm familiar with. Right. And even it's
bad. It's okay. We can say it. Some of this new shit is
bad. That new business is not okay.
Also, but this is also like stuff that is marketed mostly to kids, and they have much shorter attention spans, and they're used to seeing all this digital content, so they have to update the animation style, make it more familiar, or make it wacky enough to like hold their attention. I get the struggle that they have trying to remain relevant in presenting this stuff to kids. You kind of have to go with what works. And when I look at the slate, there's a lot of familiar, a lot of popular stuff that was really big. And if we get into like
But here's the thing. None of those people are kids anymore. So like for us, right? When I was growing up, yes, I know The Little Mermaid is based off of a story, but like The Little Mermaid was our generation's interpretation of that story. It was not a direct copy of the book. They changed it and adapted it for the times. They changed the art style. They changed whatever they had to change about how they needed to make the story appealing to the children of the 80s and 90s. Right. The problem is these people who are translating these stories for this current generation, all they're doing is replicating the cartoon in a new medium. Like we've talked about this before, like adaptation matters. And like there's some stuff that works as a cartoon visually that does not work as live action. Correct. And so you might have to change and adapt and edit some things. The movies that do that, the shows that are able to do that, I feel like work a lot better than the shows in the movies where they're just like, we're trying to, like Sonic the Hedgehog, for instance, right?
Yeah.
That movie, even though a lot of it takes place on regular Earth, even when you go to the other planets, it looks like the video game, but it's adapted to look like real life. And it's not crazy and it's not, you know, it don't look weird, but like they just think like, okay, we just tell the same Lion King story, but the lions look like real lions. It's like, well, the real lions don't have the expressiveness and you know, the animation of the lion.
The same way.
Yeah, that makes a big difference. So I mean, let's just go into it. We already into it. Let's just go into talking about the Disney slate. Obviously, we're talking about the new Lion King movie that's supposed to be, it's called Mufasa, the Lion King, and it's supposed to be a prequel to the original Lion King back when Mufasa and Scar was kids. We also have other live action, Percy Jackson season 2 coming back on Disney Plus. A new look at a new Tron movie, Tron Ares, starring Evan Peters, Jared Leto, and Greta Lee. This shit gonna be emo. 9 Inch Nails, Trent Reznor scoring. Yeah, this shit, I don't know how high I can get to go see that.
I mean, but that soundtrack could be fired up.
Snow White live action. Again, another adaptation of a Disney animated classic. In the animated sphere, they have Zootopia 2, another sequel. Frozen 3, another sequel. So, and then Moana
Toy
2, another
Story
sequel.
5.
Toy Story 5, another sequel.
Mhm.
So,
for Toy Story, well, did we?
hold on. Let me
Go ahead. Go. Run down the
let me
list.
get Brandy in here because I want to know if one of the two things she's excited about is anywhere in this Disney slate.
4. There's 4 things.
Four things.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, she
There's
doubled
4
up. All right,
things.
here we go.
Because there's other. So there's 4 things.
Okay.
Okay, go
Are
ahead.
any of them in the Disney slate? The Disney
Yes.
animated or live action? Or which? All right, let me see.
Lilo and Stitch.
No.
No. Okay. All right. I'm all right. I'm already down.
Moana 2.
Moana 2 is one.
I can see that.
That was
Moana was one for me. I saw it. Me and my wife saw it in theaters, and it's like it was one of those that like I enjoyed, but I never really felt like, oh, I'm gonna watch it again. But my wife
Go
really
back.
liked, and I've
Yeah.
seen it so many times and just been like, all right, like it was cool.
I know her number
but
2.
I feel like knowing my wife, I understand why that movie like appealed to her. And I understand like that's one of those like I'm not the target audience, but I recognize that this is still
Right.
very good. Like even though it's not speaking to me, like I want a Disney movie to speak to me. That's fine. It's still very, very good. So
Like,
shout out
It's
to
so
all those.
good.
It's
I could
amazing.
revisit those characters. This is only the second one. It looks as though there is a very interesting story. So I'm glad, like, to give me
When Moana
a
gonna get
reason
married?
to come back to these characters.
Don't do that.
But
Pop out some little Moanas.
Don't
I'm
do
all
that.
in. I'm all in. Bring back the coconut people. I'm all in.
It's interesting because the 2 that I have from the animated with a check mark are Zootopia 2 and Moana 2. I'm okay with Zootopia 2. I'm okay with Moana 2. As you said, these are just the first sequels, and I think both of those movies did well enough, and they were good enough movies to warrant sequels. I'm curious what Nick and Judy are up to.
Yeah, Zootopia was like an interesting world, but it's like, what
That
is
wasn't
going to be
one of
the
mine,
issue?
but I agree.
It's
I
like
agree.
you hit race. It was like racism. Are people really going to see this movie about racism again? It's like y'all didn't figure it out last time.
It was a little
We
heavy-handed.
got to run this back.
Right.
It needed to
Well,
be
and Ki
heavy-handed.
Kwan as the snake. The snakes are bad, but it's being played by Ki Kwan, so it's an amazing, loving, and wonderful snake.
Yeah,
Right. It'll be the greatest snake ever.
It's gonna be just the greatest, most giving snake.
Right. But of course, I mean, given that Nick is now he's on the force, now he's a police officer, he and Judy Hopps are, they're actually going to be working together. We get the buddy cop, we get the comedy aspect of it. As you mentioned, it is a very unique world, and I'm always curious whenever you have a show like that's one of the things I did like about something like the Flintstones, or whenever you have these worlds where they have to show you how the technology that you understand, how it translates into this world. When you're watching Zootopia, like the animals they chose to be the different characters and the voice, like sometimes, they got this person's voice to represent that person. And, it's like you can kind of see the character in, like, anytime you put Steve Buscemi's voice on any character, I know what that character looks like. And I'm fascinated with stuff like that. And so Zootopia is one for me that, as far as the animated slate, I am very interested in Zootopia. Moana 2, I think another one that could absolutely warrant a sequel. I am curious with Toy Story 5. I like the concept. I'm a little worn out with Toy Story.
Do not want. Yeah. I'm putting that on the do not want slate.
I do like the concept, toys versus tech. Given that we have this digital age of kids who are, these are screen babies. You take any child throwing some like Coco Melon or something. Every 2-year-old knows how to operate a tablet and a cell phone.
Better than me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm curious how, just from a storyline standpoint, as an adult, how does that translate? Because I don't see kids play with toys anymore. I don't see.
They do,
and that's part of the point of the movie, right?
Well,
the whole premise of the movie is the toys versus the electronics.
Right.
As someone with a 6-year-old, kids definitely play with toys if you make them put the electronics down. They might do the electronics first if you just let them have carte blanche or wherever they want to do. But like a kid is not just going to sit there and not do nothing. If you take all the toys away, they'll read a book.
Right.
They do all kind of stuff when they're actually being told what to
By
do
themselves.
and not
Facts.
being allowed to govern themselves. It's crazy.
Right. And I
Let
and
me
I
let me tell y'all
No
why I am
discounting here.
anti Toy Story 5. Because first of all, Toy Story 4 was absolutely unnecessary. You gave us the perfect bow to this
You gave us
story
the
in
perfect
Toy
ending.
Story 3.
yeah.
You
Yes.
took me through emotional turmoil and trauma and let me say emotional goodbyes to these characters in my childhood and just like all of these things, and then you slap me in the face with Toy Story 4, which was bad. A character was a spork. No.
But I
And
think
now
that
we're doing 5. It feels like this better go straight to streaming, and y'all are at this point beating an actual dead horse.
Yeah, they're milking
And
the
Like
hell out of that cow right there.
yeah, go ahead,
I don't.
RG.
I
Yeah,
just
Toy Story. The only sequel I'm interested in is Moana, and just because I feel like that universe is kind of there's a lot of room, given that the entire point of that movie is exploration.
right.
There's a lot of opportunity there for her to get into adventures, and it
yeah.
Absolutely.
all be acceptable. I'm good with Moana. Zootopia, not at all. Not thinking about it at all. Toy Story 5, like
Yeah.
not, yeah, no, just no, no, no. I will say the new stuff that they're coming out with, like Elio, I'm looking forward to that. Like the
I'm
one,
not sure.
so that's the one where he gets aliens kidnap him and think that he's the leader of Earth. I mean, like we should probably have also too like a trailer show, because like that
Yeah.
trailer is a great trailer. That trailer made me want to see Elio. Like I was like, okay, I like this. There's a lot of the comedy is childish but adult at the same time. Like when Disney's on and they're focusing on, I'm going to make a good story, and I'm going to make a good story that kids can enjoy, but that parents are not going to mind sitting there watching it with them, they're on point. They do a pretty good job at that. This is one of those where I feel like they're more focused on the entertainment portion of the movie and making it entertaining as opposed to trying to necessarily have a message or put like even imply that there is a message in the movie. So
I mean, there's
Elio, I'm
always a message
definitely
in
looking
Disney
for.
movies.
No, there is. They just didn't put
I
it
want
in
I
the
want
forefront
Elliot
of
to
the
be
trailer.
good, but I immediately think of Mars Needs Moms. And
Flight of the Navigator.
it's Mars Needs Moms was not a good animated movie. You know what
No,
I'm
it
saying?
wasn't. It wasn't.
And it had, I won't say a similar theme, but you have this one little kid who ends up in space. That was the very first thing that came to mind with Elio. Elio looks better, but I can't get that Mars Needs Moms taste out of my mouth when I see this. And of course, if that was the first thing that came to mind, that to me is like, so I'll give it a fair
See,
shot
but
on its
look,
own, but
that
I'm probably not the person they are making this movie for. So
No,
I
none
think,
of us are technically people that they're making these movies
well,
for.
but
These
see,
movies are for kids.
That they
I
are
but we
think,
buy
making
the
these
ticket.
movies for.
Well, yeah, I mean, here's what I'm saying, right? Obviously, as parents and adults, we got to go see the movies, even non-parents, right? Just if we're going to go see the movie, it's our money that's going to be spent on these movies. So obviously, Disney has to be aware of that. What I like is when Disney focuses on, I'm making a kid movie. This is going to be a kid movie. I'm going to try to make it funny and silly and have all the goofy aspects and the lighthearted portions of it that we know is going to entertain our child, and at the same time is going to entertain us. We're going to be interested. We're going to get the little sub jokes and things like that, the double entendres that our child is not. I mean, the Mars Needs Mom movie was just terrible. That was just from the trailer.
Damn, Mars
It's
Needs
just
Mom take catching a lot of strays tonight.
it is just random.
I mean, it's a Disney animated movie about a kid in space. I'm just saying.
The premise of him being looked at the leader of Earth and where that can go. I
Yeah.
thought it was fun. I thought it was funny. I liked the trip.
I think that kind of leads into like how I feel about the slate, which is like, again, going back to my comment about the magic and the machine, right? Like you have so many classic movies. You think that the magic is just in these characters somehow, and the magic is like people just responded to this character, so they need more and more and more with them, versus like trying to understand why people are not resonating with some of the newer stuff that is like decent. Like Inside Out 2 just came out. It was really good. So that's two Inside Out movies that work because they have a clear like message where it's like, all right, this is how your child's brains work, or this is what the inside of our brains think and how we handle different situations, personification of emotions. And then now you're going through puberty, new emotions show up. These are all things where it's like the magic in that is not in joy and sadness and Amy Poehler's voice. The joy in that is, or the magic in that is actually taking a moment to like consider what could possibly be going on in the mind of a child when they're going through something. That is not something that a lot of children often feel that happens. They don't feel like even things that are made for them are made for them. They're made for the adult. So it's like, this shirt looks like this. Like when I would sell shirts, like we're in there, we're not trying to sell the shirt to the kid. We're trying to sell the shirt to mom. Mom has to buy the shirt. So it's like, you can put all this crazy killer blood chainsaw, whatever. And like, yeah, a little 6-year-old might think that's cool, but like mom's not buying that shirt. And the market for like little degenerate kids with like no motherly figure in their life buying their clothes is a very, very small market share versus like it's either your mama, your grandma, your auntie, your big sister. It's some woman in your life at that age that's making a decision on like what gets to come in that house and go on your
What's
body.
appropriate.
So I think like with Disney, and I look at the slate, we actually forgot and left out Incredibles 3. I think that's something
my
like
second one.
You can easily like you can do Incredibles all day long. Like why haven't y'all been doing more of that?
Facts.
Like
there's
this is
stories that can be told.
Yes,
if the kids grow up more, like we saw an older version.
Jack should be a teenager by now. I need to know
like how does this work with this world now that we've opened superheroes back up at the end of the second one. I love the characters. I love the side characters. I could do a whole show with Edna Mode just talking.
For sure. And so it's like you look at something like that and it's like, yes, the magic is in the Incredibles world. Like it's a world that's there to be explored. So if we keep going back there, cool. What is like to me, the world of Frozen has been explored. It's like, bro, it's the castle and it's the woods. If we go any further, we're not gonna be frozen no more.
Right.
We're gonna be tropical. So like,
in the desert.
What are we doing? You know, I look
what is
at
the story that needs to be told?
Exactly.
So we
told
have the story of
sisterhood.
how she got her powers. We understand the sisterly bond. We know that she's gonna go be happy in Frozen over here, and the sister's gonna run things where it's not Frozen. Got it. I don't.
Right.
Which is not to say that they can't come up with something extraordinary. I just didn't think 2 was extraordinary.
Right.
Like, it's like if they were like Coco 2, like where are we going with this story? Like what else needs to be?
Like who else
and
died?
I love Coco.
Well, he has to grow up and eventually, but yeah, no, I think with Incredibles, and to your point earlier, with a lot of these movies, and I think what happens sometimes is the hope anyway. They're bringing back things that might have been special or precious to us when we were younger, in hopes that we will want to somehow influence our kids to like the thing that we like, And so it's like they're bringing the things, because like what I mentioned earlier with the Little Mermaid. Now, if you grow up and you see these shows on Disney and you see these movies from Disney and they spoke to you, you felt some kind of way, because at one point I know everybody was like, just either you were a Disney person or you weren't, and you loved everything Disney made because they had a slew of great films. And then like there was a period they started getting kind of experimental, doing some other stuff. When my kids got old enough to like appreciate, I wanted them to see these same movies, and I wanted them to see the cartoons and the original animated movies. Rather than somebody sit and watch Mufasa or a live action Lion King, I'd be like, hey, let's watch the original Lion King. Check this song out. I know this song word for word. And I'm going to sit there and sing, I Just Can't Wait to Be King. I'm going to sing Hakuna Matata. And I'm going to make my, knock on wood, I'm going to make my grandchild laugh when we sit here and they're watching Lion King, the animated version, because that's the best one, Incredibles is one of those things where it's like, it has the opportunity to grow with us because Dash and Violet and Jack, they are just a little bit older now. They could be the primary heroes because they've aged up. Jack's going to be stupid strong as a teenager, so he could take over for Mr. Incredible. Dash could be the number one hero. Violet has decided she doesn't want to be. I mean, there's so many different things they can do. And given the landscape, especially surrounding superheroes, that's one that you could explore. And we could probably be on Incredibles 5 by now if somebody wanted to, see what strike while the iron's hot kind of thing. Having a little bit of time between Incredibles 3, revisiting that world. Sure. Now you have
The thing is like with those characters, they were so good. They didn't have to strike while the iron is hot. That's why this announcement caught me off guard because it was what, 14, 15 years between
right.
the first
And that's what
two
I'm saying.
movies?
Like Jack's a teenager. Let's get back to
Jack
that.
didn't age between them 14 years in that movie.
Exactly.
just
They're
mean
cartoons.
the
That world is on
interest.
pause.
The
Yeah, no,
interest in these characters. Like Incredibles 2
yeah.
was a huge hit
Nah,
that long
Incredibles.
after the first one.
I'll say this on the consumer product side, Incredibles is always like it's a request every year for most retailers for Halloween because it's an easy family costume to do. Just
Yeah.
print that little eye on some red t-shirts and everybody's in Incredible now. But I think like that is the difference between knowing like where the magic is and where the machine is carrying the product. I really feel like, Moana 2 could be interesting depending on what they introduce. That one to me is going to be also more about the music. Like that was probably one of the last Disney movies that did well, that kind of had that classic Disney soundtrack vibe to it. You got your girl singing her heart out, belting out some song that every girl's going to be auditioning for their high school play with for the next like 2 years. So I hope I'm wrong about stuff. I'm not even gonna bother with Mufasa. I'm not watching. No, I don't think I'm really gonna watch no more of the live action like remakes. The Snow White,
I
I don't know
get
what
it.
she got. She like George Washington. Like I'm not.
I
I'm not
get
fucking
it,
with.
but also, like, I get why they would want to do Snow White. I'm surprised it's taken them this long. And the only reason I say that is because of the Disney films, because it is the first. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like it's the one that's aged the most. So
Yeah.
a kid who's watching Golden Age Disney, The Lion King and Aladdin and all of them, that's going to look funny even to them. Even
No,
as a
I
kid,
feel you. But
Snow White
even
wasn't one that you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like I just,
for sure. But even like how they adapted it, right? Like you're trying so hard to recreate the cartoon Snow White. You got her
yeah.
looking goofy, but she looked like Lord Farquhar. Like the hair just needs to be some representation that like it don't have to look like that. You
Exactly
can
the
keep the
same.
dress, you can have the pale makeup, red lips, all that stuff that the mirror says about what Snow White looks like, and not give her the George Washington storming
Yes, but then it wouldn't be Disney's
colonial
Snow
under.
White. Like, think about all the different Snow Whites there is.
But
What
think
separates this Snow White from those Snow Whites is this is
the dress.
Disney's Snow White. And
No,
the
I feel you.
hair.
Okay, did you watch Once Upon a Time?
Yes.
The way that they depicted Snow White's hair
No.
there is much
Right, but
better.
Snow was
And
Snow. She was Snow. She wasn't
I'm just saying, you ain't.
that Snow White.
I would have to be like, look, man. The only reason we animated her hair like that was because we was not trying to. She doing all this
Do the
dancing in the
strands?
forest. We not trying to have the hair flow, and that's too much animation, brother. Give us some Bantu knots and call it a day.
They figured it out with Bell.
Yeah, when the big ass computer doing all the animating.
Right.
All right.
Freaked out by the dwarves. That's all.
Speaking of dwarfs, let's move on to Star Wars with the big announcement being the announcement about Jon Favreau's Mandalorian and Grogu film. There's some other shows announced, including season 2 of Andor, which I'm guessing, I don't know if Sam's finished by now, and a new series starring Jude Law, Skeleton Crew. That sounds gritty.
Not gritty.
Why did you use that voice?
Okay, so with Skeleton Crew, that is going to be, Jeff, I honestly think that's the one you're going to enjoy the most. Obviously,
Skeleton
season
Crew?
2 of Andor,
Yeah.
you'll like that. But Skeleton Crew is the coming of age tale of 4 kids. They're gonna have their Star Wars Goonies adventure. Not gonna lie, I'm all in for it. I love it. I love the concept. I think that brings a little bit of that magic and adventure back to Star Wars. And Lord knows,
I'm in too until they having an adventure and they're like, hey man, what's your name? Han Solo. Like, oh god.
Right. Well, and the funny thing is, I don't even know for sure that
where it takes place
the character that Jude
they can't
Law
help
is
themselves.
playing, I don't even know that he himself will be a Jedi. And
No,
so
I
think that there's an opportunity.
It's gonna be a Skywalker somewhere. None move in the Star Wars universe without
they do
a
the slow close up
Skywalker
of the cat.
showing
The
up.
cat's name is Cat Skywalker.
Oh Lord!
It used to be Luke's cat. It was Leia's cat when she was a baby.
Well, given the time period that this takes place in, they would probably do better to have her related to, have something to do with Rey before they have something to do with the Skywalkers, because it actually takes place at the years after Return of the Jedi. So it's that in between time. It's
lovely in between time.
I'm Leroy Skywalker. Luke and my cousin.
Well, I mean, this will be that point where.
Please no.
Like when we got to Rey, the Jedi.
Frank Calrissian. You heard my brother blew up the other Death Star.
Right. At this particular time, the Jedi have, like nobody's heard about anything for some time. It's probably been about 20, 30 years. It's before we get to Rey, who thought that Luke Skywalker was just a myth, didn't know that was a real person. And so it finds that nice little gap where the Jedi are still kind of fantasized, or not fantasized. They're heroes.
They're rare. They're still rare because I mean it's that time period. Order 66 is done, so they're technically the only.
This is after Return of the Jedi, so the only person left at this point is Luke.
Right, exactly.
And so they're way out over here trying to rebuild the temple. That didn't go well. We saw what happened with Kylo Ren and such. So you fast forward, he's out in space doing his own thing, trying to be a hermit and disappear. So there is no talk. There is no Jedi. There's no word of Jedi. There's nothing, which is why I think it's interesting that we have this Jude Law character who has the Force, but there's no indication that he is in fact a Jedi. He could just be another Force user, given a little bit
sensitive.
And so I'm interested and I'm hopeful, and I think it will. That's the one I'm looking forward to moving forward.
Yeah, I'm only looking forward to that one. That's it. There's no way I'm looking. I don't care about Mandalorian and Grogu.
I'm gonna absolutely.
I'm gonna watch it because
I'm not gonna pretend like I'm not gonna be all in watching it.
There's
I'm looking forward to Skeleton Crew.
I don't want to get my hopes up on the Mandalorian, but Skeleton Crew looks entertaining.
Right.
Like I like the idea of them getting into adventures. I hope to God there is not any real member berries. I mean, if you want to randomly throw in a planet name or
nothing.
Some, something they hear
about here on
Tatooine. Death Star. There you go.
I'm like them. I'm like them jealous people. Don't take me nowhere you took your last boyfriend. I want all new experiences, baby.
And and they could give us that. I mean, they're supposed to be doing some traveling and hopping. They're supposed to be, it's a big galaxy. I mean, that's the thing. It's a big galaxy, right? Like
it's really
got a lot of areas.
Take me somewhere new.
It's Coruscant. I think Jakku was like the farthest we got away from what we knew.
Yeah, they kind of stay like within like a couple of light years away. Like, can we just jump?
Mandalorian and Grogu.
Brandy, I want to hear what you got to say because I'm gonna go last on Mandalorian Grogu because I think I have some opinion that might be controversial.
Like I literally initially, I can't explain it. Initially, the name, like Jon Favreau came out, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I love you. Hey, you're great. Love you. Happy Hogan. Hey, hey." And then the name flashed up, and I was like, "Oh, Mandalorian and Grogu. Oh, my sweet baby angels." And after that, I felt absolutely nothing.
Right.
Because I was like, what we gonna do? That we ain't done.
The only
is this even our Mandalorian? Now we got some strange man in the suit. I don't know him. Grogu don't know him. I don't want my son with him.
The only thing that is even remotely interesting about Mandalorian and Grogu is all the reports that this is supposed to be a culmination of all of the series. So Mandalorian, Boba Fett, Ahsoka. The word on the street is that this is going to be like Star Wars Avengers, and they're teaming up to do whatever.
We know how it ends.
Don't even. Were you trying to help us be more excited by telling us that?
No, I'm telling you what's interesting to me.
Oh, okay.
I didn't go in and be like, I can't wait for Mandalorian. No, I'm like, I'm gonna see it. It's Star Wars.
I'm gonna watch it.
I don't even want to watch that shit now.
I'm gonna watch it, but I don't feel no sense of excitement about it. I feel like it's an assignment.
If I miss it and it comes to streaming before I can see it, I'm not gonna feel bad.
Oh, I'm not gonna pay.
There you go. Yeah.
This is where I'm at right now.
I'm gonna watch it on Disney Plus, but unless like it blows people.
I'm gonna just say if I have a chance to see a Star Wars movie in theaters, I probably will, just for the visual effect and the size. Like I enjoyed Mandalorian. I enjoy seeing westerns in theater too for the same reason. So Mandalorian is almost like a perfect combination of both of those. It's like if I had to sit through fucking Rise of Skywalker in a theater, I could sit through I could see my boy Mando on the big screen at least one time.
But is it Mando or is it an imposter?
I mean, if we keeping it a buck and we revealing secrets, they said it wasn't him in the suit like 75% of the time during the original filming anyway.
Yes, but it was him though.
There you go.
I knew it was him. I don't care.
He better ADR like he been doing.
But I'm gonna believe the lie.
So it's like Grogu is basically the star of this particular show. The Mandalorian is just there.
This is the problem. Grogu is the problem. As much as everybody loves Grogu, he's cute. He put food on my table. Forever grateful for him when he showed up in that little orb. Hey, we made a lot of money. Okay, we did a lot of good things together, Grogu. This is not on you. This is on the writers. We should have picked the species that like can grow up and be like more interesting a lot sooner. Like this motherfucker don't talk.
We got 200 years for this motherfucker as an active participant in the plot.
Like if Yoda is like we haven't seen a young one, so like we seen one that's in a bassinet and we seen one that just shuffle around with a cane.
Died 2 weeks.
We don't know if these motherfuckers can really walk for real. Like, is there ever gonna be like, I'm just walking? We don't know if Yoda is this as big as they get. Yoda could just be short. We have not. We need something that's gonna be able to give.
Well, the actor like
Mandalorian more than
Yodas.
just.
Like we don't even know what his species is called. We just call them Yodas because that's his name.
Right. So I feel like we're just beyond. For me, I'm beyond this point of like the novelty of Grogu. He's a powerful Jedi. We've seen him. We've seen him lift the big stuff. We've seen him in battle. He's a Mandalorian. Like I'm also disappointed that this is a movie and not a show, because I feel like the thing that I have liked so much that I feel like a lot of people hate is the Mandalorian folklore and the like storytelling that they've been telling about like the culture and the society of Mandalore. This is all the people who've been clamoring for like who were clamoring for the Boba Fett show. You should have just like invested in the actual lore of what was happening on Mandalore instead of like clinging, because when they brought Boba Fett back, you acted like you ain't want it. Now you mad about it. You've been begging for this show for fucking 40 years, 50 years, and then when it come out, you're not grateful for it. So I think like the cuteness of Grogu, I don't want him to be Star Wars Steve Urkel. We know, Did I Do That is coming. We're gonna laugh, it's funny, but like, is that what Mandalorian is going to become? Like, is he going to become the sidekick? They're going to get in an argument and like go their separate ways because Mandalorian, like, when do we stop infantilizing Grogu and like him become a character that has the autonomy worthy of being in the title of a movie? Because right now it's just like he's an Ewok essentially with the Force, like a cute character, sells a lot,
capability.
But that's what I'm saying. Like if he was an Ewok, this show would be way more interesting.
Yeah, Mandalorian and Wicket.
And how you got an entire show?
Grogu.
Right. You had an entire show based off them getting into adventures, them getting into these small, non-galactic level threats, these very isolated incidents that between the two of them, between random powers and ingenuity and Mandalorian skill, they were able to get out of. And that is what, made that show, The Mandalorian, enjoyable. I don't see how that translates into a movie. Yeah, I don't see how that translates into a movie, because what level of threat are you going to have that we're going to feel the stakes are just so high? Or are they using it as an opportunity to say, okay, we're rebooting Mandalore and we're getting the planet back together, we're getting the nation back together, and maybe that's where they go with it, and that's how they try. They try to make it epic, make it cinematic.
No, the Armorer already put Bo-Katan up as the leader of both clans, and that technically that side is done.
No, not him taking over. It's just the establishment of the.
And I agree that the bounty hunter side, the creature of the week, him deciding what missions he is going to take and not going to take. Now that he has a whole son, he has to take care of, who obviously needs to be a little bit more mischievous than he is and get into more stuff that causes some mishap. And now he has to get out. And now he got like his own little armor underneath the so we need to get more from Grogu. I absolutely agree with that. Is he going to be able to be aged up enough to make it worthwhile and have him do something in this? Probably not. But at the same time, we've also seen that Din Djarin has found himself to be in these very unique situations that put him in a bigger position in the galaxy than he ever expects to be in. He's just trying to collect a few credits and do a job. But every time he finds himself as a part of this big mission that has all these lasting effects, and it's bigger than just him every time. And so that's why this vehicle technically as a movie works with the crossover elements into the other IP and everybody coming together. May not be the winning formula, not trying to sell you on it and convince you that it is.
Mm-hmm.
That is where this story is going, and that's the only way it can make sense. Having Ahsoka, who is a trained Jedi, no longer a Jedi, but has that training and that knowledge. She's someone who can communicate effectively with Grogu, and they have an opportunity to do some kind of team up. We've already seen Boba Fett and Din take out like 50 stormtroopers like it was nothing, because it's two Mandalorians doing what they do. It has the potential to like have that action. Much like Jeff said, it's the novelty of Grogu that's going to potentially bring this story down. If he's just eating all the cookies on screen and being cute, that'll get old and he'll just be in the way. Yeah. Otherwise, we have to see what they're going to do.
Yeah, I don't want it to be
fair. We've seen him mature.
We have. And that's why I say, as long as he's not just novelty the whole time, maybe. So,
or we need somebody else in the ship. This motherfucker can't just be talking to himself and just growling.
Just Grogu don't talk.
Something.
Yeah. Right, they
sidekick, something.
At mid-light speed.
Yeah.
At least another droid to have a conversation with. So what's that lead? Marvel?
Yeah. So we're going to talk about the Marvel slate, which went into its movies. Well, they didn't really talk about the movies because they did all the big movie stuff at Comic-Con. I'm sure there's thousands of videos about Robert Downey Jr. coming back. So we don't necessarily need to do that conversation right now. But they did announce Ironheart, Riri Williams, basically Black Girl Iron Man. She will have a Disney Plus show. Daredevil Born Again, they're bringing back a lot of the original cast for that. And then Agatha All Along, the spinoff of WandaVision, probably Disney Plus's biggest Marvel hit thus far. So some things to potentially be excited about. I heard a huge groan from RG, so let's just start off on the negative note.
Yeah.
How did you feel about this slate?
Good God. Just get it out the way before I get an ulcer. They're trying. I want to give them credit. They're trying, right? This is an opportunity. There was no portion of Riri's character that I enjoyed at all in the Black Panther movie, at all. I did not enjoy her addition. You could have made that movie without her being involved in it. We would have had the exact same outcome, basically. you know, I'm sure you tried to give her things to do and make her. I can appreciate super intelligent black girl. I have zero issue with that. It's just you're really
Sure.
gonna
Two
have
of them.
It's like
When
when
there's two
Shuri
of them in the
exists.
movie, that's where I draw the line.
the too many. Goddamn it! How many intelligent black girls we gonna get in this goddamn movie theater? Now, it's I'm complete. They're just gonna have to do. It's gonna. I really want to see how they're going to make her show interesting. I believe the opportunity is there. You know, if the writers, this is one of those shows that it's going to be either really, really good or it's going to be really, really bad.
It's executive produced by Ryan Coogler.
He is not on a pedestal for me. He's good for what he does, but I'm not like, oh shit, it's Ryan. Yeah, nah, he's okay. He does a good job. He did a good job with the Black Panther movies. I was good with that. I have no problem with those. You know, one still kind of, one is mid, right? One is mid. And I actually like two more than one. What can he do with this show? Keep it entertainment. Don't give me the Winter Soldier. We got to do better. I don't want that. Don't give me that. Don't give me that moment.
Actually.
This is a world that almost got taken over by fucking aliens. There are some things that I'm like, we really haven't figured this portion of it out.
It's like a red tape and bureaucracy.
I get that. We got to figure out is her suit OSHA safe, and is the opportunity for War Machine to come and be like, let me help you out there, sister. Things like that. We can have a lot of us moments, and if done right, I will probably be like, okay, feeling that portion. I just don't want it to make it entertaining. I want more entertainment than policy. Okay. I want more entertainment. I want more shooting. I want more, give me villains. I want more her using her intelligence, her using her ingenuity to solve problems. Don't make it like she can just build everything out of anything, that she's just super MacGyver instantly and everything works perfectly with absolutely no consequences. Either build her up, let's see her fall, let's see her rise a little bit, fall, rise back up higher again, fall a little bit, like make her a more realistic character. Don't make her flawless, don't Mary Sue her, because I really want her to work out. I like her as an actress. I'm okay with the character, and I'm okay with the implications of what she can mean as to other Black girls. And anything that puts STEM in the forefront, I'm all for. So I'd really love to see that portion emphasized in the show. Just don't make it, she's fighting cops and shit. And,
you asking for a lot, brother. You say you want to be realistic.
Did you feel like she was Mary Sued in Black Panther?
Yeah, I feel like she was.
Even though she was on the run and almost getting ass beat every scene we saw her?
It's not that. So hold on. A Mary Sue doesn't mean you don't face trials. It just means that you're surpassing them with, okay, you got to help me understand. How the fuck are you this smart? That you're able to, you figured out how to find the vibranium, and you're just awesome. You built this suit from what? You went to the junkyard and got all this stuff together? And
Iron Man did the same shit.
True, but I mean,
Shuri don't have no powers. She's just smart as fuck too.
Yeah, but I mean, she's got a whole country worth of dough to get. She's got the best stuff.
She's got the Wakanda tech, and ultimately,
but she's
responsible for a lot of that tech too.
She was creating that shit. It's not like she was
just want Ironheart to be good. You're not even really hating on it.
It's not right. I can believe that she's smart. I can believe she's smart.
Okay. See, everything else you said building up to why you are concerned about Ironheart had absolutely nothing to do with not liking Ironheart or having even a real reason to hate on it.
True.
Ironheart, you just want it to be good. Hell, I want all of these items on the slate to be good. Anything Marvel does, anything Star Wars does, I want all that shit to be good.
Right.
Don't pick Ironheart out of the group to be the one to hold
because the other ones I ain't even care. The other ones are done. The other ones are done. I ain't looking forward to Daredevil. The way he came, they They simped him out in She-Hulk. They already blew him.
He was a simp in the original Daredevil.
I mean, yeah, but he was a simp who was whooping some ass, though.
Okay, it wasn't his show. It wasn't his show. That's not what he was there for.
I mean, when he popped up,
I don't think Disney's gonna give him that much ass whooping. I don't think they're gonna let him whoop ass like Netflix.
Why would you bring Punisher back? Look at Echo. They was being nice. They was shooting people.
I'm like,
this is an extension of that, more so than it is an extension of She-Hulk.
Yeah. I mean, he was more or less a cameo in She-Hulk.
He popped up in She-Hulk. That was fan service. That's
like Charles Bronson showing up on the Love Boat. He's not gonna be punching people on the Love Boat. He's still Charles Bronson, but like he gonna have to kiss some women this time. You have to play some shuffleboard, Chuck. We're not throwing nobody overboard.
Now, as far as Ironheart, and I think with this entire slate right now, with the exception of, and honestly, I don't even know exactly how it's going to work with Captain America: Brave New World. And how that one might tie in, but Marvel looks to be getting into a lot more mysticism and magic. And with Agatha all along, they're definitely exploring. That is all magic. That's witches. We got Doctor Doom coming. One of the things that's a big part of Doctor Doom's character is he is a sorcerer. Like he's a fantastic sorcerer, in addition to being a genius, in addition to being a great inventor and all that. So they have to explore more into this magic side of Marvel. It just so happens when we said, okay, we're going to talk about D23, I was like, okay, let me do a little research, see everything that the character they have coming into the Ironheart series. It's this character named Parker Robbins, the Hood. That's a magical character. She is a technology person. So you have tech versus magic. And that's going to be one of those things where now we have to see just how smart she is, because she's going up against forces that she can't quantify. She can't like do math and figure out how that works, but she has to overcome it. And we'll get an opportunity, I think, to see her smarts on display. And I actually love the character of Ironheart. I thought her portrayal in Black Panther was fantastic. I think she was used appropriately and accurately, and she wasn't Mary Sue, because she did seem to be struggling the entire way. If it weren't for Shuri telling her like, hey, look, I need you to do this. You got this. And it was when the shit was on the line and she was the only one who could pull it off. That's when she had her moment to shine. And it was just in the technology. She didn't get out there and do no specials, super duper like MacGyver on 100 type shit. She like sat down in front of the computer, did the math, and made the shit work. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do with her show, especially when we have this technology versus magic, because we're about to start seeing a lot of that. And I think with, if I remember correctly, even in the new Captain America, we're supposed to be having some stuff going on with the Eternal, or not the Eternal, but the Celestial that's out in the ocean. His body's basically going to be vibranium. If that whole body is composed of vibranium, everybody's going to want that substance, because they see exactly what it's capable of doing with Black Panther running around. So everybody wants that. As we get into more and more mysticism and magic, that is kind of the direction that Marvel seems to be expanding. They want to open that door a little wider so that they can invite all these different things in, so it makes sense when they start trying to get some payoffs on it. You build small, you work your way up. I don't think the Marvel slate is just super, super booming, but I mean, the stuff they got coming all seem like bangers. Agatha all along. Kathryn Hahn's a great actress. I loved her character in WandaVision. I'm gonna watch this show because I'm curious. Like, she lost her power, she getting back. What's gonna happen? I gotta know. Captain America, I'm definitely gonna watch that. I want to see Red Hulk and the whole thing go down. Daredevil Born Again. If you got the OG Netflix cast coming into this show, well, you got my attention. And I expect to see some hallway fights, episode 1. and the only thing that I think is kind of like head scratching right now is Fantastic Four, but that's a little ways off.
What about Thunderbolts?
I'm excited for that.
I
want to hear. I'm gonna let Brandy go before I go on anything.
Yeah, character designs is my only question on Thunderbolts, but I liked all those characters. So get off my.
I didn't really have a strong opinion about Riri either way. The only thing that I really like her as a character, I just kind of always wish that they didn't put her in Black Panther because I felt like the way that they introduced her in Black Panther left a lot of people not knowing who she was and assuming she's a Mary Sue. Because yes, they're like, oh, she's really smart and she built this, and you see that she's definitely comparable to Shuri, but they don't really explain the Iron Man connection, why she would have an iron suit. And so a lot of the complaints that I saw were, who does she think she is? She's the new Iron Man. You know what I mean? I feel like maybe this should have come first. And then Riri could have been in Black Panther and we would know who she is and what she's capable of. That being said, I watched the show. I wasn't necessarily eagerly anticipating or blown away at the idea of it. I'm not going to lie to you. I think the little girl's cute. I think the show has potential to be great, but it wasn't anything that I was like, oh my gosh, this is a must see day one for me. I'll watch it, but we'll see. It could be she can't be worse than Kate Bishop. So
Yo,
so
Bishop catching
y'all got one more time. I got one more time to get my girl hating me like that.
So anyway, I'm super excited about Agatha because you know what my end goal is. When we start opening the door to witches' roads and witches and opening the book and the dark hold, you know who may step back through, who may come back to me. But I love Catherine Hahn, and I loved her as Agnes slash Agatha. I think she's damn near stole the show, and she's delightful, and she's very entertaining. I love the way that she does the character. The preview has me absolutely intrigued. I want to know more. I want to know more who these people she's with. Like I'm very excited about that.
I was really curious that they have Mary Jo Rupp in the show who played
and my
wife.
Aubrey. How could I forget?
Right. Well, given that when they had the dinner at when Wanda hosted the dinner for Vision's boss, the wife of the boss,
Deborah Jo Rupp.
Deborah Jo Rupp. Like that was her. Yeah. Now she's coming back to be a part of this show, partly because she of course, right, she lived in that town. But I wonder if the connection is more like maybe some of the residual effects of town, the lingering spell.
I mean, once your town has been taken over by a depressed witch mourning her dead robot husband, you don't just like go back to your suburban life pretending like magic doesn't exist.
You still, because
like no, you was across the you was always over at their house. You know what happened, Catherine? Let me up in this house. Right. What y'all got going on?
Right.
You got to help me because it's not happening to my one thing.
And they felt her feelings. So like,
and so
you're stuck in a holding pattern of pure pain and depression. Now all of a sudden it's gone. Back to your life. Here you go.
When she was in that little loop right there.
And Daredevil, I enjoy him as Daredevil so much. I just never gave a damn about that character, and I watched the movie with Ben Affleck. I watched the Elektra, you know what I'm saying? And I still didn't care. So it was, y'all know that like certain comics, I wasn't Marvel. I was DC. So I don't know nothing about these characters. I really don't. I knew about Fantastic Four because of a movie called The Ice Storm. It's a long story, but that's how I knew who the Fantastic Four was before the movies came out. Otherwise, my only introduction to these characters is through the movies and like cartoons.
Yeah.
Like Silver Surfer. You know what I mean? But also, I'm not anticipating this movie. I listen, I love me some Pedro. You know I love Pedro, but Pedro needs the facial hair. And if they shave him clean as Reed Richards, that's too much face stretching. I'm sorry. It's too much.
That's Maxwell Lord.
He has a big.
That is Maxwell Lord on screen again if he shaves.
Right. So I'm very leery about how we're going to have with, because he needs a little. He need. Anyway.
The promotion already had his beard, so.
I am all about Captain America. I'm going to watch it. Just Anthony Mackie. Even when he walked out on the stage, I don't know what it is about that man that just don't resonate with me. I feel so bad because I want to root for him to go see the movie.
Because
I'm
his
rooting
real
for
name is
him.
Clarence. And Clarence lives
I
at
hear,
home with both of his parents.
like I don't
Clarence
even think
parents
it's
have a real good
that. I
marriage.
don't even think it's that. It's just him in
He seemed
general.
like
Like every time he shows up in something, I'm like, oh, here we go, Anthony
look
Mackie.
this
Like
this
I don't know why.
he
The
It
man
seemed
almost
has
seems
like
like
never
he
done
lied about
anything
something.
untoward,
he
and
seemed
he's
like
good at what he's in.
he seemed like one of them black people that like when he's the only black person, he prefers it. That's the only thing that I can see like when I look at him and like just how he interact with people and stuff. It's just like you definitely prefer to be the only one and one of the good ones, and
About to say, and the smart one, yeah,
when the real ones
I can
start
see
showing
it.
up and acting crazy, you don't like that.
He'll leave.
Not
He'll
ready.
be like, get your
Trying
Start
coat. All right.
apologizing. I'm so sorry. It's,
Maybe
you
that's
know,
it. I don't
some people
know. I
just
just am like, I promise I don't, but I want to see this movie. There's all of the elements of it. I love the more serious tone. I feel like for whatever reason, I've been missing that in Marvel. Like it feels more like Civil War tone, like more
Yeah.
like there's
yeah.
Stakes.
stakes
Right.
Yeah, because
in
it's
this.
been a lot of Taika Waititi and fucking Guardians of the Galaxy and all kinds of stuff. So
Yeah.
that balance in the slate is definitely one thing that I feel like had been missing. I'm gonna ignore the wisecrack about Kate Bishop and just point out, going back to the Riri conversation, you know, Marvel has done a good show about a coming of age story for a superhero girl in the Miss Marvel series. So I
Yeah.
would say like I would look probably more to that as reference. I feel like with Riri, I'm excited about it because it gets us another step closer to an Avengers team that I would like to see on screen together, because I do feel like it's a balanced representation, even though one of those members is staunchly hated in this group. I'll ignore that because you know
You hate
I
her.
no, that's the thing. The show, though, what I think the issue of the show is a lot of what we've been talking about across the board. If this is a Hawkeye show about Kate Bishop, it should be a Hawkeye show about Kate Bishop, not both of them. And
Right.
so I think because they were so worried, like, well, will people just watch it if it's just Haley Steinfeld? And like, how can we explain the name change? And it's just like, y'all got him going on side missions. We find his suit and the sword and all this other stuff. And it's like, yeah, it looks Mary Sue because like
She's the
the
sidekick.
training is just the training is a montage. You know what I mean? Instead of us really seeing like what it took for her to become that, like, because that's what we saw with Miss Marvel. We saw the journey of her becoming what she is, so that
As
when she
RG said,
shows
her
up
up,
in the
her
Marvel,
down, her up again, her down, and then her rise.
right?
Right.
But I think with
I heard you,
Riri,
brother. I acknowledge you. I
I
but
heard
I
you.
think,
did.
but I,
Absolutely. I didn't feel like it was invalid. I just,
Right.
but I think the difference
didn't
is like
dislike
it's not.
her as much as that's all.
But it's
Mhm.
also like not about like the legitimacy of the powers when we've looked at like that's honestly been the problem that people have had with Captain Marvel. They don't want to just accept like it's just a strong motherfucker who can like whoop a lot of ass and like because she got alien powers. But it's like that's what Superman is technically. Like,
But a lot of motherfuckers
and
don't like Superman.
they don't like him, but they don't be like, oh, it don't make sense.
It's
Like how
impossible.
is
It's
yeah.
ridiculous. She
Well,
You
they're
can
did
like,
pull out
no,
a
you
you pull out a
understand.
green rock.
Krypton has the red sun, and like Earth has the yellow. Like they'll accept all that BS, but when depending on who it is, they won't accept that kind of like. It's illogical for some characters, and you can create like whatever logic you want for other characters. So for me, I'm not worried about the Mary Sue thing because I'm not ever looking for them to legitimize like how and why they have the powers or skills that they have. I just look at it like these are superheroes. Her name is Hawkeye. Of course, she can shoot arrows. Like they give us a back. You give me a backstory about a little girl who saw a man shooting arrows, helping people while her city was being attacked by aliens. Like I automatically understand. Like yes, from that point on, she's dedicated her life to like
Helping people by
following in
shooting
his
arrows.
footsteps and doing exactly that. So when she shows up and she's like a crazy good archer, I'm like, yeah, this makes sense. But like, if you don't show that, then I see how people. Yeah, I
There
see how
is
people
crazy good and there is Hawkeye good. There
Yeah,
is,
but how did
I've been
Hawkeye get
studying
good?
martial arts and I've been practicing and I've been doing this. I've never had actual combat with an
Yeah,
actual fighter, but I can hold my own with a Black Widow.
she was holding back. She didn't want to really kill her.
Yeah, she didn't
Exactly.
want to
She
kill
Why?
him.
said
Yeah,
that.
Why
she
was she
said that.
holding back? Because she was fighting a Mary Sue. That's why. Because there is no indication in anything that was going on that she would not have snapped her neck. She told her she was going to do it.
Well, she said she
She said, if
would.
you get in the way, I will kill you. She got in the way and she was like, oh, sit down over here and have a cup of tea, my sweet baby, sweet angel, because I love you so much, even though I don't know you. And I'm a freaking Black Widow.
But she was working with her sister's homeboy.
And I
So
attribute
once you
that
see
more to
that,
plot armor. I attribute that more to plot armor than I will her being a Mary Sue. Right? You conveniently make a Black Widow be merciful for the sake of the character. Now, I don't think that improved Haley's character, right? I don't think it made her better that the Black Widow didn't kill her. It just seemed awfully convenient that the Black Widow decides not to knife.
It
her.
humanized
wasn't it-
I will give
Elena
you
this
more
that.
than
after-
anything.
It was very convenient that she didn't stab this girl to death who is standing between the person that her and the person she thinks murdered her sister, which is the entire reason she's here. But no, I'm not. No, my darling, have a blankie and some cookies, and you sit over here while me and Uncle Clint have a conversation. Because you're so special with
well,
your
that's the
archery,
writers. That's
as
not.
good as Hawkeye.
Well, as long as we know that that's the writers and not Haley Steinfeld.
Do something different with her character. They need to
So
bring in
don't-
some different
don't-
writers
Don't
and,
blame my girl
give,
for this one. Don't blame me.
I think seeing her
give
in
me
the
something with her because I
that's
got
part of
nothing.
that's part of the reason I'm excited with Ironheart, because it will get us to a team where like Kate Bishop will make sense. Kate Bishop does not make sense
She's got
standing
powers like
next to
Professor X
Kate Bishop. She does not make
and
sense
can
standing
fly.
next to the real Hawkeye and the real Avengers. She looks like she should be at the kiddie table, which is Miss Marvel, which is Ironheart,
Absolutely.
which
You're
would have
right.
been Shuri had Chadwick Boseman not died, but Shuri had step up to the big kids table now.
Right.
They're starting to set up that like junior, and I think what I would bring them back and bring back under Peter Parker or whatever. But like I think you're gonna see like people who make more sense together, because like that's the one thing Marvel did not really do is like heart on sidekicks. Like they teamed people up,
Right.
but like even though Falcon was like Captain America's sidekick, like Anthony Mackie was the sidekick in the movies, but it was never like you're the sidekick. It was like
Right.
same thing with Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow. They like on the mission together, and so they do a lot of team ups, but they've never done that like mentor sidekick relationship
Dynamic.
And it's a tough dynamic,
which I wish they could have done with Tony Stark and Riri. I wish we could have seen that relationship. I think it would have been really super super dope, and they did kind of substitute Peter in that. I get it, but also that would have just been a great dynamic to see, I think.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right.
And I mean, I'm looking forward to Winters. I'm looking forward to the Captain America because
I really am.
I do like this. Civil War is one of my top 5 Marvel movies. So it might be top 3 actually. One of the top 3 of the Marvel movies. So if they keep it, give me some good down to earth, regular
Absolutely.
people
And more
violence.
Val. And more, what's his name? What's the guy that was Captain America, but now he's not? He killed the dude. What's his name now? Iron Patriot. What's his name?
Yeah.
Oh,
John Walker.
Agent.
U.S.
agent. U.S. agent.
U.S. agent. So like, I'm sure
but he's gonna be in Thunderbolts, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I'm sure they'll pop up. You think it's kind of the same? They were in Winter Soldier together. I kind of feel like they would tie those together.
I think he's moved on to Thunderbolts. That's like the new. That's gonna be the new Guardians. I think, where it's just like all these like, I think it's probably gonna be more like their Suicide Squad, like all these like old characters and like villains and bad guys who had a good reason just teaming up and doing some shit. So I think that's the thing I'm most excited about with Marvel is that they have brought back the changes in tone. I do think like what you had said earlier, Brandy, like everything was getting very flat. Everything felt like it kind of had to, it was starting to feel like it had to all be the same kind of movie. Like this movie don't need that many jokes. This movie needs more action. This movie could use more of XYZ so that the themes and the tonal shifts get back to where they were. But I think, you know, you got your political thriller coming back with the new Captain America movie. You got your kind of action expendable Suicide Squad team member coming up with Thunderbolts. You got another high school college / girl coming of age story with Ironheart. You got your kind of mature like noir beat 'em up with Daredevil. Like they're bringing back the change and shift, as opposed to, I feel like before they were like flattening and making like everything in Marvel's for everybody, and it's like that's not how comic books work, and that's not how TV shows about comic books should work either. Like I don't want to watch a Daredevil that's been made for all audiences, because that's just gonna be soft.
And that was so my worry about Deadpool. And I know I missed the conversation and I'm not going to dip too much, but I was worried that I was going to go into this movie and they were going to soften him. And I really walked out of that movie thinking, yeah, it's almost like Ryan Reynolds was like, no, double down. Like, oh, how many times did we say the F word in the last one? Say it twice that many times and put a dick in it. Like
get your R rating in the first 5 minutes of the movie. Earn that bitch. Quick.
But I needed to see that immediately because it let me I felt safe. You know, like I feel safe
that's why
that this is going to be that. And I feel like that with Captain America.
I think that's why it went down. I think we'll probably get one of the biggest action sequences of the Captain America movie in the opening sequence. I think
I can see that
in the same vein that I was about to say the same way we saw Steve Rogers attack on that ship and like take everybody out as the opening sequence,
same
like
thing with
jumping
Black
out
Panther.
the plane. You got to come right in.
I never freeze.
See, he froze. I mean, I think it's going to open up with, because one thing about it, like, let me tell you, it is such a joy to watch Falcon in his particular fighting style, the way he like uses the wings, has them open, close, glide, flip around, kick somebody, fly back up. Red Wing shoots out some stuff. I mean, like it's such a fluid action sequence with him. And now he'll have the shield on top of that. So as he learns to incorporate using the shield while flying, I'm looking forward to the opening of Brave New World. And I think that opening action sequence is going to be the setup for whatever happens. And it could be just something as simple as he's the person sent to defend the Celestial from outsiders, and that's how they get into it over that. And Thunderbolts.
I always want to write the movie.
I'm just
no, but I do agree because people are coming into this movie ready to hate it. So immediately knock them off guard with a super great action scene. You know what I'm saying? And then
you know what? If you say make Captain America great again, I'm
gonna walk out. All right, so we're gonna go into our final.
That's not a trending hashtag.
You know what? Edit that out. I don't want it to become one. I don't even want to create.
You're the one who did it.
I know.
It was created by a black man. It's all right.
I mean, that's how they do. They take moments, take it one clip.
All over Facebook. Did y'all see this man say?
They're going to be in front of your video like this.
Right.
People stitching it. And let me tell you why.
Let me lean a little close to the QR code. Gotta take that picture.
All right. So let's close it out.
We might go viral off that. Let's go.
I want to go around and I want to get everybody to tell me what is the project they are probably the most excited about of all of the slate, and a quick why.
Y'all didn't say nothing about Avatar 3. I'm not interested, but somebody might be.
We don't
I'm
talk
not
about
interested.
Avatar.
I've never seen any of them. There's only one Avatar, and he's a little bald-headed boy with an arrow tattooed on his head.
There you go.
It's funny because they're actually doing Fire Nation right now. So
Ooh.
Avatar, Fire and Ash. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Book 3 was Book 3 Fire?
Book 3 was fire.
How about that? The third Avatar movie is called Fire and Ash. I'm not saying James Cameron is inspired and that he has a formula that works.
I wouldn't say James Cameron is inspired either, looking at Avatar.
For real.
That paycheck was.
All right, who wants to go first?
I don't.
I
don't know.
I am most interested in one that we actually did not mention. I had a brief little talk. I am very interested in the live action Lilo and Stitch. Personally, that one for me. What I've read about it, given that they're going to have some of the characters in practical makeup effects, Zach Galifianakis as Jamba. I want to know how the hell they're going to do Stitch. I want to know if, and this is one of those things, like, it's kind of contradictory to earlier, but it was a good story. It was a good movie. This one, I'm actually curious for live action because it wasn't talking. It wasn't animals that were talking that had to emote. It was people talking. So if you get live action people, it still works. They can still emote. The alien, it was always going to have to be CGI or something like that. So
thinking more like Sonic, like that 3D kind of.
Yeah. And so and
that
given
movie
that
hinges on Lilo. That movie hinges on who they get to play her.
Yeah.
She is the star of that show. And if she's not right, the movie it's just not going to be right.
I just want to see her beat up the little girl with the freckles.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
and know that she throws a tuna sandwich on Tuesdays because it's peanut butter last week. You know, you can't feed him tuna. Like, I love Lilo and Stitch. That is one of the movies that I remember seeing, and I've always been a fan. Every time it comes on, the whole family watches it. Ohana means family, and no one gets left behind or forgotten. And I'm all in for the live action Lilo and Stitch.
All right.
Who's next?
I will say the only one. I'm not going to say the only one. So I'm 50-50. Like I said, that Ilio is, for one, it's an original idea. It's an original script. So I'm interested in seeing what they can do when they actually have some originality behind them and it's not an existing IP that they're trying to rest on. That's probably the biggest thing that I'm looking forward to is Elliot.
Planet 51.
I want to see what they do. Nope, it's not Planet 51. Just because they're in space, just because it's little kid in space, this is not me. This is not an original.
Chicken Little was good. That was about aliens too.
There you go.
Chicken Little was good. Highly underrated.
Yeah,
there you go.
Highly underrated.
All right, Brandy.
Pisses me off.
You want to go last, or you want me to go?
If I had to say, what is the one thing that you were probably like, okay, I am 100% all in on Agatha All Alone. That's just, that's the one that I'm like, I have absolutely no reservations. I am all in.
Yeah.
I'm excited about Incredibles 3 a little because it's the third, Moana 2. I'm all in, but also, unreserved Agatha.
All right. And for mine, oh shit.
Andor season 2.
Say Ironheart. Just go ahead and say Ironheart.
it's close between. All right, so Ironheart is the one that I'm like most excited to watch, that I think I'm going to actually enjoy. The one I am most curious about is this new Tron movie, because Tron is just one of those things that, like, it just looked cool and it's tricking people into thinking it's good. And I remember the first time I actually watched the Tron movie, and I was like, this is garbage. Like, this is terrible. Like, it just looks happening? Cool. And then it was like the second one was kind of like, this story is interesting, but this dude is a bad actor. And I'm not understand, like, making a direct sequel to Tron is like a bold choice when you could have just gone full reboot. So I'm very curious as to, like, if and how this one is going to be even connected to the originals. And I'm just curious to see if they can make something finally that like is as cool of a story as it is like a visual. Cause like I'm definitely like rolling one up and going to see that like on the biggest screen I can find. I just hope I'm not bored out of my mind between when they're not on the like little light bikes. Cause like visually everything trying whatever the second one was called, Evolution, with everything that they did
Legacy
was like Legacy. It was like an improvement on the original Tron. Like the light bike scene and that, and the second one was crazy.
True.
It looked
the,
good.
the little club fight scene with Daft Punk was dope. But like
fair, the technology was totally different.
I still walked out like, what is Tron? So maybe if they could have somebody explain what Tron is at the beginning of this one, I'll, be satisfied. But I'm just that's the one I'm most curious.
2-paragraph recap at the beginning of the movie to just break down what the hell this is.
Yeah,
because the last two movies did not properly explain. You have to be like uber nerd and less geek for that shit to make sense.
Yeah.
What who was all in it? Did you say?
It's
Jared Leto.
Jared Leto is in it. Evan Peters and Greta Lee.
That's who it is. Yeah, I'll watch it because he's in it.
Is Jeff Bridges returning in this one?
No,
he was not listed.
Okay.
Evan Peters. I'll watch pretty much anything he does. So
now I will say the interesting thing about all of the visual improvements they had when they did the second Tron, there is a bit of irony that they were probably the only ones who couldn't do the facial de-aging for the Jeff Bridges, for the character there. And admittedly that face mapping technology wasn't quite there, so they were ahead of their time when they tried to do it. But if the whole movie is based on the visuals and the simulation, the computer generated graphics and such, you got to nail anything that's computer generated in graphics.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, any last words anybody want to say about D23? I think we covered it all. I'll probably break this up into 3 different videos, so this will probably get
excited about the park improvements and the things coming to the parks.
Okay.
I know that doesn't have anything to do with anything, but just saying that was part of it too.
Yeah, I miss being a Disney person. I had a pass when I lived in California, and it was very fun.
Freakier Friday, anybody?
Freaky Friday?
Freakier Friday.
I'm with it.
Yeah.
My dog Manny Jacinto in it.
Yeah. Bless him.
Yeah. It's just one of those.
I'm rooting 100% for Lindsay Lohan. Y'all know I love me some Jamie Lee Curtis. Bless him.
It's just, you know what? That'll be one. Like I eagerly anticipate the movie. Like I hope it does well, so it gets to Disney Plus really quickly.
Why they don't ever do Freaky Friday with a father and a son?
They did.
A couple of times.
Again, Zac Efron.
And there was one with Dudley Moore. There was one with Zac Efron and the friend who passed away. What was his name? Matthew
Perry.
Matthew Perry.
That was 17 again. He just went back in time. He didn't switch places. He didn't switch bodies with his son.
Oh. Well, what was the one with Dudley Moore and Kirk Cameron? Was that also 17 again?
No, that one
like the remake?
I remember that one. And
like Father.
And then there
like
was
son.
Dream a Little Dream. And then there was one with Tia and Tamara, kind of the same thing.
Tia and Tamara, the one I remember. But I thought that one was that was
like
with
Father
Taj.
Like Son. That's exactly what it was. Like Father Like Son, 1987.
Father Like Son.
Sean Astin.
The only one I remember was the one with Jason Bateman and Ryan Reynolds when they like peed in the same fountain and switched bodies.
Oh God. Phew. That doesn't even sound.
And I didn't remember that one.
Yeah, it was. I just remember in the commercial because like he didn't want Ryan Reynolds as Jason Bateman to sleep with his wife.
Mm.
That was the change up.
But that's still not even like
I
father
know.
son.
I literally feel like I've never heard about that movie until just this morning.
No, I absolutely remember that.
And
Because,
I love
like,
them both. That's so weird. I don't
The Ryan
remember
Reynolds
anything
character
about
is like
that.
obviously his character is like the. Actually, I think
All right.
Jason Bateman's character was like the player in that, and Ryan Reynolds was the very conservative. But then when they switch, now you
Of
have
course.
the
Yeah.
Jason Bateman playboy in the Ryan Reynolds body.
Yeah,
And-
because we all believe that. Anywho, this has been a great show. Please like, subscribe, ring that notification bell if you want more fresh, piping hot content. And us just disrespecting Hollywood actors who will probably never ever come on this podcast anyway. So who cares? Did anybody have anything else? Anybody have anything they want to plug? Hit the QR
just wanna-
code to join the group.
Apologize to Anthony Mackie. I'm so sorry. I'm
Don't
sure he's a
apologize to
friend
him.
of the
He
the
doesn't even
pod.
want you around.
He
Thank
said-
you.
When you walk in, he's like, "Ugh, I can't wait for her to leave."
we go get Anthony
It's
back.
supposed to be me. Just one of the bad
Anthony
ones.
Don't take his picture.
Exactly. Not right now. Like, okay. Was it Kissing Vipers? Anywho, for GrownAGeeks, for Sam, Brandy, RG, I'm Jeffrey. Peace.